Hi there, welcome to Nagler Senior Stretch. So before we get into our stretch, we're going to talk about how to get up from the floor in a healthy and safe way. So we're going to start from a standing position, and if it's hard for you to get down to the floor, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to take our feet wide, we're going to bend our knees a lot and sit our butt back. Notice the difference between taking a squat with the knees over the toes, which is not what I want, and putting the knees over the ankles and taking the weight in the butt. That's really what we want, the back of the thighs. So I'm going to come down as low as I can. I'm going to bring my fingertips to the earth and one at a time walk down with the knees. And then come down to a seated place, either on your hips or to get down to the floor. We're going to take our knees over to one side and lean on one hip and then walk our legs around. Now let's talk about getting up. We're going to take our legs around. We're going to push ourselves up to an all fours position, but notice where I put my hands. I don't want my hands out here. I want my hands close to my knees. So I'm going to push up and walk my knees in behind my hands and find myself in an all fours position. Now I've got a couple of choices here. I can come into a down dog position, bend my knees and walk up, or I can come down and walk myself up 1 foot at a time. When I do that, I want the angle of my knee to my ankle, right? A little kitty corner. I'm going to take my fingertips or my palms, and I'm going to walk myself up and slowly draw my foot to a nice wide position. Now watch what I do coming up from the floor. Hands on the hips, little pull, isometric pull between the thighs to keep the weight out of the back, and I'm up. If you need extra help, use a prop. Hang on to a steady surface. Come down one knee at a time, use your hands, and then come down one hip at a time with the hands. Walk your legs around. Okay, so we're going to come right down to the floor, and we're going to do something called oscillation. So this is really good for the back and the head and the neck. We're going to take our hands on our shins, not our knees, but our hands on our shins, and make some small alternating circles with the knees. Let the head roll as well as the back. And then take the soles of your feet together and the knees open wide and drop the legs out. If this is too intense for you, prop your elbows and hold on with your hands. Now notice that I don't want my heels really close to the groin. I want a nice wide diamond. And I'm going to take my arms overhead and just take a big breath in and a big breath out. And a big breath in and a big breath out. So this is what we call passive stretching. We set our body in the shape of a stretch, and then we let the breath do the work. From here, we're going to intertwine our fingers, take the palms away, and take the wrist stretch. Draw the thumbs out a little wide, bring them back in toward the hands. Draw the thumbs out, bring them in. Bend your elbows, shake out your wrists. Then we're going to go right for a hip stretch. So we're going to bring the knees together, extend the left leg, and bend the ankle. So notice that bend in the ankle and the curl of the toes. I don't want to let the leg go slack. I want the calf to aim for the floor. Then bend the right knee. Hands intertwine across the shin, not the knee. So not here, but here. And then bring that leg in and hold it. And then gently switch legs. The left knee comes in, the right ankle bends. So notice that both ankles are bent. And then draw that leg in and wait for the stretch. Then unwind and the right knee in and the left leg out, remembering to bend the ankles and curl the toes. And then roll the right knee over towards the right armpit and wait. Come back to the midline and take that knee over to the left, stretching the outer right hip. And then back to the center and then other side. Left knee comes in. You're pushing through the right heel. And then roll that left knee over. Come back to the center. Notice how I keep both ankles bent. And stretch that outer left hip. Bring both knees in and hands on the shins. Take that easy small oscillation circle. And then flex and point your ankles. Mine always crack. And then small circles with the ankles and small circles to the ankles the other way. We're going to go right into a straddle. So you flex your feet, push with your heels, take your legs out left and right, doesn't matter how far. Then bend the knees and bring yourself into a ball, flexing the feet and face to the knees. And then right back out into the straddle, take as much or as little as you like. Then we're going to go right into a cross-legged position. So this is just like setting your ankle over your thigh the way you might if you were sitting watching television. Notice though that again, both ankles are going to be bent. So here I have left over right. And even if your leg is way up here, don't worry about it. You don't have to be as open as me. You can be this lined this way and you'll be just fine in the stretch. So I'm going to lift my right shin parallel, keep the ankle bent, thread the hands behind the thigh. You can keep your head down or up, it's up to you. And then bring that thigh into the belly and you'll get a really nice stretch across the left hip. Then open up and plant your feet and do it again the opposite direction. So I'm going to take the right ankle over the left thigh. As I lift the left shin, I don't want that shin down or up. I want it parallel with a bent ankle. Thread the hands behind the left thigh. Bring that thigh in towards the belly. You'll notice that one side's always tighter than the other. That's all right. That's normal. And then unwind into that open-legged position with the arms overhead. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Then we're going to go right into a position called Happy Baby. So this is a little tricky to learn if you've never done it. So you're going to take your legs, bend your knees, and aim the bottom of your feet towards the ceiling. So again, the knees are bent like a spider almost. The bottom of the feet are facing the ceiling. Then take your arms and bring them right inside your shins. Right inside your shins. Leave your arms where they are and wrap your fingers only around the edge of your feet. Once you have that, the elbows stay inside the shins and you gently draw the thighs down toward the earth. What if that doesn't work for your body? Then hang on to your ankles and draw your legs down toward the floor. So either way, either hanging onto the ankles or hanging onto the feet. If you're super flexible here, draw your shoulders toward the earth and bring your thighs down toward the earth a little more. And again, we're breathing and waiting for the stretch. Unwind, plant your feet in a nice wide position, and we're going to do a bridge pose. So in the bridge, we're going to use the equilateral triangle. So the triangle is a very steady form. You can't fall over in a triangle. So we're going to use our shoulders and our head as the triangle with no weight on the neck. So I can put my whole hand under the curve of my neck. So I want the head pushing down, the shoulders staying down in the triangle, then plant the hands and lift the hips. The fingers are on either side of the body. Then come on down and we're going to go a little deeper. So we're drawing those shoulders down toward the earth, the head's down, no weight on the neck. Come on up with the hips. Intertwine the fingers. Make sure the pinky fingers connect to the floor. Then lift your chest if you want more. Roll your shoulders towards each other and take a little lift in the hips and the chest. And then we just wait here for a good, deep, nice stretch. And then coming all the way back down to the floor, knees into the chest, little sway from side to side. Extending the legs out, flexing the feet. We're going to take the hands behind the head and give the neck a little stretch. So this is a little tricky to learn as well. We're going to take the elbows in. You want to let your hands do the work, but not the head and neck. So I'm going to lay the head down, the elbows come in. Draw the chin to the chest. As soon as I feel the stretch stop, I'm going to let that head just fall into the hands and gently keep drawing the chin toward the chest in millimeters. All the way out and down. One more time, drawing that chin to the chest. As soon as you feel it stop, drop the head into the hands. Draw yourself down. Keep the form. Lift the head about an inch and take a little small circle one direction. Little small circle the other direction. All the way down to the floor. Point the toes this time and reach with the fingertips. Both knees into the chest. One hand on each shin and a little sway. And then we're going to learn another way to come up from the floor. So take the hands underneath the knees and we're going to roll. So if you don't feel comfortable with this, then you're going to come over to one side or the other. So let's do the easy one first. The easy one is to roll over to one side, plant your hands close to your knees, and push yourself up. From the floor, if you're using the roll up, what we're going to do is take the hands under the knees, round the upper back like a gorilla, and then kick with your belly and your feet. Roll on up. It's a great massage for the back. 1, 2, 3, or 4 rolls. Come on up. Extend the legs. Shake them out. Go right for a forward bend. Reach on up. Take your hands wherever they reach. Shins, ankles, or feet. Draw the head towards the feet. If you want a little more, then round the back and take your nose towards your knees, but be careful to not overdo it here. And then come on out. And thanks for joining me for Nagler Senior Stretch. There'll be more to come.